fights with passion, and he inspires.
Are you ready for a war?
All right, welcome back to From 8 Arbitration, Monday edition. Now, this one's not going to be long. I'm not going to have a long episode today, but what I'm going to do is my beautiful wife is going out of town Wednesday through Friday, so I'm going to have an episode Wednesday and Thursday. All right, I just drove in from Milwaukee, just walked in the door. I'm running here, going to do this episode real quick, but I will have one Wednesday and Thursday. Will not have one next week. I'm going on vacation. All right, so I will not be doing one next week. I leave Sunday, will not be back till the end of the week. And so I'm going to do one Wednesday and Thursday. All right, and I'm going to have the Wolf on with me Thursday. So James is going to be on Thursday. Don't miss that. But so tonight, I'm just going to talk to you about something I've been thinking about. And y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm crazy. All right, but we'll talk about that. Got a few other things I'm going to talk about. But again, tonight's not going to be too long, okay? And I apologize. I don't like doing that. Used to, my episodes were like 15 minutes. And then they became 2 hours. And what's funny is you're like, man, I'm sorry it went so long. People messaging, hey, man, the longer the better. So if y'all can stand it, I'll just keep talking. But not going to have a long one tonight. Like I said, we just came back from Milwaukee. Had a fantastic event yesterday at the baseball game, Milwaukee Brewers baseball game. And thank you so much for Rob and his wife, Gabby Kozier, for putting that together. It was a CLC event. Had over 200 people there. A lot of love there. A lot of people coming up, talking, telling us thank you for everything that we're doing. And look, don't worry. Don't worry about this election. This thing is going to be overwhelming, I'm telling you. It is going to be overwhelming. And so a lot of people coming up saying, hey, man, the entire station's with y'all. Numerous people doing that. And that's generally every region we go to. It's the same way. So this election will not be close. I'll give you a forecast. You can write this down. See if I'm wrong. I'm going to predict this just based off of regions that we've been to and things that we see. James Henry will get between 40 to 47,000 votes. I'm going to call that. He's going to get between 40 to 47,000 votes, maybe a little bit higher. I think he will still garner a little bit of support. You still have those that really don't pay attention. They don't give a damn what he does. Like, hell, you got Region 2's business agent pumping him, saying, hey, we don't need a change at the top because he speaks well. So you'll still have, and you got other business agents that say the same damn thing. Hey, we don't care if he's fucked the carrier over. He speaks well, so we want to keep him. And so as idiotic as that sounds, you're still going to have some that are with the status quo. He's going to get about 20,000 votes. He got 37,000 last time. He'll have about 20,000 this time. Now, he has said publicly that he is expecting two things to help him win. Retirees, which are not going to vote for him. Everywhere we go, the retirees, they are very smart individuals and keep up with things. They are not on board. And for the spoiler to take enough votes away from James to help him win. That's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. I'm going to say anybody else running is going to get between 18,000 to 20,000 votes. So James is going to get about 40 to 47,000. I believe Renfro will get into 20,000, and whoever else is running will get into the 18 to 20,000 range. And that's generally the consensus. Even those at national will tell you the same. James is going to win. They're just hoping and praying that enough votes are stolen through retirees or some spoiler to make an effect. It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter, I'm telling you. So just write that down, okay? Write that down. Come back to me. But Rob and Gabby, thank you so much for the event yesterday. Like I said, about 200 people were there at the meet and greet at the stadium. It was had a tailgate, fantastic time, fantastic food, fantastic fellowship, a lot of love, a lot of support. So that's great stuff. I'm going to go through a few screenshots, and then I'm going to talk about something I've been thinking about. And just as you go on your route, now, when I was an advocate, you always did your opening statement walking on your route. If you're advocates, you know what I'm talking about, because we're not full-time. We do it during if you're walking your route, riding your route, you're thinking of things, you'll stop, write it down. But my openings would all be done while I'm walking my route. Questions that I come up with would be done while I'm walking my route. My closings, and I'm very animated when I do my closings. A lot of hand motions when I do my closings. I'd be walking on my route doing hand motions, and I know people with ring cameras are like, what in the hell is he doing? But that's how I do my closings, and I get back and write it down, just bullet point. And so, but I've been thinking about this on my route. I'll get to that in just a second. CLC fundraiser event. Now, this is going to be in Cookeville, Tennessee. This is for your next business agent, Region 8, Dana Chambliss. She'll win that one going away. The current business agent will lose miserably. He has zero support. He may have a little bit where he came from, but zero support. And so Dana Chambliss will win that one. But we're having a CLC fundraiser in Cookeville, Tennessee. It's at Cookeville Community Center. It's going to be June 14th. And it's at 240 Carlin Drive, Cookeville, Tennessee. 240 Carlin Drive, Cookeville, Tennessee. And that's going to be Sunday, June 14th. Time is 1 to 4. James and I'll be there. Dana will be there. There'll be others from the CLC will be there as well. It's going to be a fantastic time. Make sure y'all plan on coming. It's going to be food, drinks, music, door prizes, $30 per person online, advance, or $40 per person at the door. Get your tickets online, www.square.link/u/NZPQ. Surely there's got to be a better way than that. But it's got a QR code. And so, yeah, or you can just go onto concernedlettercarriers.com and find that, hit that QR code, or call Dana at the office. There's no way I'm going to say that link. Get your tickets online. We'll have to post that somewhere. But that's going to be Cookeville Community Center, June 14th, 240 Carlin Drive, Cookeville, Tennessee. So that's going to have Crossville. You'll have Nashville. It's about 90 miles away or so from Nashville. Some people from Knoxville in between there. You'll have Oak Ridge and things like that. A lot of support up through there. Now, Knoxville overwhelmingly supports the CLC, and then Kingsport's a long way from that, but you may have some from there come. But that's going to be June 14th, Cookeville Community Center. Come and see Dana, your next business agent, Region 8. James and I'll be there, as well as others from the CLC, all right? Another cool thing at the baseball game, excuse me, but in between second inning, when the teams are swapping field, on the board it says, "Welcome to the CLC. The Lions are coming." And that was put up on the board, on the scoreboard. That was pretty cool to see. And so even the baseball team understands what's happening. Even the Milwaukee Brewers know that we're coming. So that was pretty sweet there. So I'd be remiss not to say that I hope you enjoyed your day today. We spent ours driving back. But to honor those that have died while serving in the U.S. Armed Forces, Memorial Day. That's always had a special place to me, even though my father did not die. He's a Marine. And that day's always meant something because we enjoy this day because of them. And I hope that y'all had a fantastic day, but I do hope that y'all stopped and thought about those that have sacrificed everything to make sure that we stay a free nation, so that we have those rights that we have, that most countries do not have. And so Memorial Day is always special to me. Armed services always have a special place to me. In arbitration, I made sure I went over extensively that we're dealing with someone who served in the military and they need our utmost respect. And so would not allow them to be disrespected in any way. And but the armed service has always been special to me. My dad, as being a Marine, I'll never forget in church when we would have things for the armed services, and they would be playing the song, and they would play each branch of the military their fight song. And when your fight song came up, whoever was in the crowd that served in the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, they would stand up. And it was always something that would make me emotional, because when you got to the Marines and they played theirs, my dad would stand up. I was always so proud of that. And so, yeah, I just hope that, y'all thought about those today that gave us this day and made it possible. Our armed service members that have sacrificed everything so that we can do what we do, right? So that we can do what we do. So a fantastic day to celebrate them. And I hope that y'all did have a great day. And probably should have started out with that. But yeah, that's good stuff, man. Just to be able to honor those, a day set aside to honor those that have sacrificed their lives. And that's something. That's something right there. You talk about love. That's love. Love for a country is the ultimate, is sacrificing yourself so that we can keep doing what we do here free. And so, got some screenshots that people have sent me. Here's another whiteboard. This one was, it just pisses you off when you see this. But it's a whiteboard that says, "Is this grievable?" On the side is a paper with a vehicle number and how many miles driven with no seatbelt. So yes, I'm going to grieve that. You're not going to put any of our personal data, either route or name, on a whiteboard for everybody to see. And they generally think that they can do that. I read you that a couple of weeks ago where it's like, hey, this is public knowledge. It's not public knowledge. That's the reason it's on that computer. For a reason. That's the reason you have to log into that computer. And the reason you log into that is because it's not public. Or else I'd be going in there checking on all your shit if it was public. But it's not. You're not going to put up our performance data, route, or name on a whiteboard. That's section 115.4. I've been going over 134 so long. Section 115.4 of the M39 handbook. Okay? Maintain mutual respect atmosphere. You're not going to embarrass me or my people by putting up performance data on a whiteboard, all right? Here's another thing, and here's how they do. Management, everywhere I go, I say that management's management, okay? Do you have some good managers and supervisors? Yes. They're exception to the rule. And I know a lot of them listen to me. A lot of times when we go places, say, hey, man, at the Formal A, man, I walk in and they're listening to you. Or, my supervisor said, hey, you're going off on managers, we're not all that bad. So I know that they listen. Most part, they're pieces of shit. They lie and steal. Anybody that's going to lie to me is a piece of shit. Anybody that's going to steal from me or my people is a piece of shit. Anybody that falsifies data is a piece of shit, because I have to trust you that you're going to do right by me. And when you prove to me that you cannot be trusted, to me, you're a piece of shit. And so I know that I cast a broad net there when I say I despise management with everything in me. But if y'all don't like that, managers, go to those that are pieces of shit and tell them to stop, right? Or tell your district managers to correct those that are pieces of shit so that they wouldn't get that reputation. But they're pieces of shit. But here's... Somebody sent me this and said that during their last route count and inspection, they were not giving credit for carriers getting their scanners. They were not getting credit for carriers getting their scanners and logging on. Here's what they said. The team leader's response was, the tasks like obtaining and logging into the scanner are not recorded due to the carrier not being on the clock. So when I got my scanner, took the time to log into that thing, however long that takes, because you got 15 announcements, a video you got to watch, and then did you check your vehicle? Did you fill out this form? Did you do all this shit? So 20 minutes later, I'm still trying to get this fucking login in. They're saying that we're not giving you credit for that because you're not on the clock when you're doing it. So, I mean, And the reason they do that shit is because if you grieve it, it's going to take 6 months for them to come back and say, that's not right. Because the formal A is not going to do it. They're chicken shit just like the informal. The DRT's not going to do it. Hell, they're just going to send the motherfucker forward and put it in a fucking stack of 50,000 grievances pending B or pending arbitration, the 8,000 pending arbitration. They don't give a shit. So here you have a route counting inspection. The team leader saying we're not going to give you credit for that because you're not on the clock when you're doing it. God. You can't make this shit up, man. That's what I'm talking about. They hate us, and we don't hate them enough, right? Listen to this, and this will piss you off. This will piss you off because you're talking about the deterioration of our service. The deterioration of our service by not delivering the mail, delaying the mail, willful delay of the mail, delaying packages, not letting us do our work, telling us, hey, I know that you still got an hour and a half left. Bring it back. We're not going to let you get that time. Just bring the mail back. Listen to what happened here. Hey, Corey, I felt so defeated yesterday. Listen, management won't let us work over 10 hours, and they took our mail and were out delivering it after we went home. Swear to God. We're filing, but they don't care. Why would they care? Why would they care? A lot of carriers want to know what National is doing. I don't feel supported by my national or regional business agent, and he gave me the region. Let me tell you, you're not supported by that business agent in that region. I'm telling you, you're not. That whole office is a shit show. And so just crickets from them. I'm so damn frustrated. I guess you are. But here's you have management telling people we're not working over 10 hours. Now remember, they took the caps off of the 12 and 60. They took the caps off of the 12 and 60, so really we should be able to work 24 hours. We should be able to work as long as possible to get the mail delivered. You're not going to work past 10. So we're not even making it up to the 12. You're not going to work past 10. Bring whatever you have back and leave it on the floor. When we leave, management is going out there and delivering it, so my route's not getting any credit for that. I'm not getting the time for it, and management's not going to put it in to my work hour workload report that was delivered. They're stealing from my route, from my unit, from me. Like I said, true pieces of shit would steal from me. Steal from those that are actually doing the work. Light Blue is the only one doing the fucking work in the post office. We're the only ones doing work. Management supervisors don't do a fucking thing except think of ways to steal from us and fuck us over. So here you have, I'll say it again, I feel so defeated. I understand that. I get it. Management won't let us work over 10 hours. They took our mail and were out delivering it after we went home. We're filing, but they don't care. Do you know why they don't care? Like I said earlier, they don't care because that will probably be heard in 8 months. 8 months. They'll probably heard in 8 months. We're going to have a whole new contract, and ain't no telling what we're fixing to get fucked over in this next contract. So they don't really give a damn. Why would you give a damn? If you're low down, decrepit, sorry asses like management, why would you care? The grievance procedure is broken. Management has hijacked that. We have no answer for that. So management's just willfully stealing. They don't care. Bring the mail back. What are y'all doing? Give me your keys. Why do I give you my keys? I'm finna go deliver that. We can't tell them to stop. We can't tell them no. They're management. We can't say, you can't go deliver my mail. Fuck you. I'm going to grieve it. I'm going to grieve it. Well, just tell me when you want me to meet and I'll sign the 8190. Send it up. Goes to the Formal A. What are they going to say? Well, where's the contentions? Here's mine. Article 3 gave us the right. Can't work past 10. As stupid as that sounds, probably going to have something like that. Send it up. 50,000 cases pending B. Put that in that stack over there. We'll get to that. Let me see. That looks like that's next March's stack right there. So next March, we'll get to that. That's what we deal with on the floor every fucking day. People don't understand us. And people that don't understand us are making decisions for us right now in collective bargaining. I'm talking about both fucking sides. People that don't understand us on the floor are up there making decisions for us. We're as fuck can be down here. People send me this shit and I'll be stewing all fucking day. All fucking day. Let's see what else we got that'll piss me off. Oh, yeah. Somebody asked the other day, what was the language? Because management's telling them that they cannot go in and see if businesses have outgoing mail when they don't have mail to deliver. And that's during the route count inspection. They reached out to me. If that's happening, remember, it's going to be Module 9, collecting outgoing mail, standard training for city letter carriers. If you Google that, Module 9, collecting outgoing mail, standard training for city letter carriers. That's the only language you're going to find. There's no language to dispute that or refute that, okay? They will have nothing. If they say, hey, I'm giving you a direct order, we'll grieve that under Article 19, okay? Standard training for city letter carriers, Module 9, collecting outgoing mail. It says, even when there is no mail for delivery, the carrier must, circle that right there, italicize it and underline it. Must, underline it. Underline it. Must collect outgoing mail from curbside boxes if the customer raises the flag, and from all businesses, even when there is no mail for delivery, and from all businesses at the bottom of that, okay? So that'll cover you there. There's another one. The Module 13, collecting outgoing mail, standard training for city letter carriers. Module 13, same language. Even when there is no mail for delivery, the carrier must. So that says, even when there is no mail for delivery, the carrier must collect outgoing mail from curbside boxes if the customer raises the flag, and from all businesses. All right? So Module 9, Module 13, okay? I'm going to read you some quotes from Jimmy Hoffa, okay? Some people may like him, some people may not. But here's some quotes from him, and then I want to get into what I've been thinking about, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong. I've told you before, and I'll tell you again, the strong survive, and the weak, they disappear. We did not intend to disappear. As light blue, and this is the reason James and the CLC is going to win. Because we don't have to rely on lies, deception, all those things that are going on right now with certain candidates going to different places, just running us down. We don't have to rely on that, right? We're not the status quo. We're not those that have already shown us that they're cowards. The CLC is built with those that have been in the fights. James Henry's record speaks for itself. He never has to defend himself in any company. His record speaks for itself. He's a street fighter. My record speaks for itself. I'll put it up against anybody that can run against me, whoever's going to run against me. Same thing all the way on down the line. But he said, I've told you before and I'll tell you again, the strong survive and the weak, they disappear. We do not intend to disappear. I want you to remember all these quotes as we're going through this, what I'm fixing to talk about. I've said consistently that no employer ever really accepts a union. Remember this quote while I'm fixing to talk to you about things that I've been thinking about. I've said consistently that no employer ever really accepts a union. They tolerate the unions. The very minute they can get a pool of unemployment, they'll challenge the unions and try to get back what they call management's prerogatives, meaning hire, fire, pay what you want. Remember that. Remember that one quote. I do to others what they do to me, only worse. That's probably my favorite. I do to others what they do to me, only worse. When I say that you can't hate management enough, they despise us. You have to despise them more. And that's how I truly feel, because of the things that they have done to my people for so long. The avalanche of shit that's happened to my people light blue since Renfro has been in charge. And I fault him for that, because he's cowardly. He's cowardly. I don't need a bodyguard. That's Jimmy Hoffa. Maybe he did. But he said, I don't need a bodyguard. Hell, your president has 2 or 3. Okay? And I thought this was funny because if you've ever heard my story about how poor we were, James and I are pouring each other. It says a slab of bread, buttered with lard, and if you were lucky, seasoned with salt and pepper, was a luxury. That's when he was a kid. Because I talk about eating butter sandwiches when I was a kid because we were poor as hell. And James talking about having sugar. And then this older lady came up, this retiree, and said, y'all think y'all are poor? We had to eat lard sandwiches when we were kids. Lard sandwiches, and have to drink hot water to get the lard off the roof of our mouths. And we said, hey, you win. But a slab of bread buttered with lard, and if you were lucky, seasoned with salt and pepper, was a luxury. I'm going to talk to y'all about some things I've been thinking about. And I want y'all to tell me if this makes sense, okay? If I'm way off. I could be. Y'all let me know. Y'all know how I feel about Renfro. He's not presidential, okay? He's not presidential, and he is not a leader. That's not his fault. It's who he is. He speaks smartly. To his detriment, he speaks smartly. Everybody that ever listens to him says, man, that dude spoke for 4 hours. Man, he is an eloquent speaker. I just don't know what he was talking about. He had no point. And so he's got the gift of gab, like others that are running. They'll just speak, like, man, that's impressive. What in the fuck did he say? But I think that he did a disservice by Rolando and Lou. I think that they both did him a disservice because he was not down here long enough on the floor to understand us. That way, when you get into meetings, you don't sign things to our detriment. You don't sign things that will hurt us because you weren't here long enough. You don't understand how management works. I'm sure that when he signed 1983, I'm sure he thought he was doing what was best. Those of us that had been on the floor when we saw those times immediately thought, what in the fuck is that? What are those times doing on a memo? I don't care what the verbiage is below that, but these things will not be used outside the joint. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. You should have just written down below that blah, 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 because that's what management saw. Even Lloyd, even him, I read you that email where he sent out saying, hey, to 22 minutes load time is an average. He didn't say that was a parameter not to be used. He said that's an average. So what does management do? You're not even making average. Why can't you even make average? You're doing something slow. We're going to come out here and watch you every single day and harass you and belittle you and intimidate you because you can't even make average. We cannot have an average when there is no street standard. When you sign that, it's surely it's because he just wasn't here long enough on the workroom floor. I've been on the workroom floor 34 fucking years. I knew when I saw that, you can't do that. We're fixing to get bludgeoned by that. Anybody with any real time on the floor would tell you, you don't put times on memos. You just don't. Other things that he has done or not done has shown he's not presidential. He's smart. He's not presidential. There's a difference. He's not a leader. He's smart. He's not a leader. Smart and speaks well does not mean you're going to be a good president or a good leader. He's neither of those, okay? When these metrics came out, and I'm getting some, I know you're like, God, we're so sick in here. I'm getting somewhere with this, so hang on. Hang on with me. The metrics came out. And to me, when that comes out in a publication it talks about you've got the hour office time. That should have immediately been investigated by the highest of the highs in our unions. What's this about? What's this metric about? Let's start talking to people across the aisle here. What are you talking about this metric of an hour office time? Because the M41 reporting requirements covers that when we leave. You talking about DOS? You talking about PET? Or what is that? We didn't address it nationally. And we've been paying the piper ever since, man. We have been reaping the fucking whirlwind on that. Y'all would have to agree with that, right? The hour office time, because it's now 45, some places 30. All this is going to make sense in a second. Then you had the stationary events, talking about we're going to reduce 900 million hours. Whatever, it's some crazy ass number. Remember the number I gave you? It's a crazy ass number. We're going to reduce this many hours of stationary time. Now, how are you going to do that? How are you going to have that big of a reduction in stationary time, because you don't have that many managers to go out on the street in accordance with 134 of the M39? Well, we're going to use this data based off of the computer, the GPS data. Well, you do know that that's a violation of that step 4. You can't do that. And it's also a violation of 134 of the M39 handbook. You can't spy on us or use covert techniques. We didn't address that. And that was odd to me. Because when you think of that, now I went off on it here because I'm a carrier, right? I don't have a full-time position. I'm a city letter carrier. And so what happens to city letter carriers happens to me, because I am one. I do this. I do it all year. And so that was odd to me. Then you had the stationary events come out. They start coming after us like gangbusters. Start coming after us like crazy. And you had people writing letters about the stationary events, not just the stationary events per se, but the harassment. And that was what the letter was talking about, and I read it to y'all. The harassment based off of stationary events. And we talked about that. We're fixing to get destroyed on this. And we had, how many episodes we have say, hey, if they come up to you, say I was working. If they come up to you at your case, say I need my steward, because you're being investigated. And sure enough, it happened. Every day, people are messaging me. Hey, they came up to me. I told them I was working. They said that's not good enough. They need to know what I was doing. And I said, hey, we don't keep a log of what we do every day. We just work. We work until we clock in, until we clock out. We're working. The only craft that's held by minutes and seconds. From the time we clock on to the time we clock off, we're being watched, monitored, and scanners are watching us, okay? So you have them write letters saying, hey, brother Renfro, they're harassing the shit out of us. This has created a terrible toxic working environment. And what did he say? I'm sorry that you're being inconvenienced. It wasn't, where's this happening at? I'm sending in a team. Because we're not going to harass my people based off of something that you can't do. We're not going to harass my people ever at any time, ever. He didn't say that. He said, I'm sorry you're being inconvenienced. So it was an inconvenience to us that we're being harassed and bullied and intimidated. That's not presidential. That is not a leader. To me, you should have rained thunder down on these motherfuckers when that happened. As a president, I said, hey, I'm going to get hold of your business agent. We got some people coming in there tomorrow. Okay? He's not presidential. Why? He doesn't understand us. He doesn't get us down here. He didn't have any time down here. And so remember that. Then you had my brother, Mr. Gates. And y'all know how I feel about that, right? He kind of became the poster boy for who we are in the heat. Who we are in the heat is Brother Gates defined that. The abuse that we take based off of stationary events, which he said was an inconvenience. Okay, so he's disciplined. He's nearing retirement. He's never been disciplined before. And the very day that after the discipline, they say, hey, keep it moving, beat the heat on the scanner. Okay, so what is he thinking? I've said this before, but I'll say it again because I'm getting somewhere. He's thinking, to me, I'm nearing retirement. I spent my whole life here. I've just gotten disciplined. My union told me, don't worry about it. So I'm going to try not to. But I've never received discipline, so I'm kind of anxious about this, kind of nervous about this. They told me I can't be disciplined based off of GPS data alone. But I have been disciplined. It is now on my record until it is removed from my record. Okay? So management's telling me now, keep it moving, beat the heat. I know that they are watching me on the scanner. So maybe this water break, I'm going to skip this one, okay? And maybe this lunch break, I will wait till later, and because I don't want them to come out here. So I'm going to keep moving and to beat the heat like they said. It's not, hey, take rest breaks as needed in the heat. It's, hey, keep it moving, beat the heat. And he dies. in somebody's yard. Now, that's our brother wearing our uniform, right? That's our colors, as they would say in the Warriors. That's our colors. That's what we wear daily to show who we are, the family that we are. That's my people wherever I go. Traveling and I see a postal vehicle, I'm saying, hey, there's my people. Whoever I'm with, I say, hey, there's my people over there. They're wearing our colors, right? So he's dead in somebody's front yard because of management's neglect. I said back then, I'll say it today, and I'll say it after I retire, they killed that man with what they did. I truly believe that. And there were some carriers got mad at me. Man, that is such a, don't give a shit. Don't care. My brother is dead in somebody's front yard, and I blame the Postal Service for that, okay? And your president at the time, we were going crazy. If y'all remember back then, we were losing our shit back then. I mean, ready to fucking riot. And what did he say about us, Light Blue, the family? They just want a pound of flesh. That's something management would say to management looking out of a window at us. Look at them down there. They're just wanting a pound of flesh. That's not presidential. That's not presidential. Okay? That's not a leader. I don't picture Jimmy Hoffa saying, one of my truck drivers was killed because of management's neglect and my truck drivers are ready to fucking riot. Look at them just wanting a pound of flesh. I imagine Jimmy Hoffa being in the front of the fucking line saying, let's fucking go. That's what I would picture. That's a true union leader. Okay? Now, corruption and all that, I'm just talking about how he was loved, the leader that he was. So, you have some examples there. You got HIP training, where management intentionally falsified HIP, okay? And we raised a big to-do about that, nationwide HIP training. Everybody says we should have gone to national level agreements except your president. He did not want to do that for whatever reason. Everybody else was saying go. You know, you need to go because these are things that are mandated to do. Then you had, I read the other day how that postal thing where the district manager was talking about HIP training, how vital it is and all this. And, management came out and lied on Brother Gates saying, well, he received the HIP training, so he was aware, only to find out that they had falsified HIP training. They falsified business agents' HIP training, resident officers' HIP training, people that were on vacation, their HIP training, people that out on extended sick leave, their HIP training was falsified. And your president, when he got in front of the committee, when he was talking to them, they asked him about it, and he said there were some discrepancies. Now, that was the time when your business agent for Region 2 says, man, he speaks so well in front of senators and congressmen. And that would be the time to speak well. That would be the time to say, hey, I know that they just said that they have HIP training. The problem is they falsified it. So one of the safeguards for the city letter carriers, especially those that are coming back from some kind of extended leave, is to receive this HIP training. And people say, well, y'all been delivering 30 years, y'all should know. Then don't have fucking mandatory HIP training. If it's mandatory, I expect it to be mandatory. I expect the training to be mandatory on us, if it's mandatory. Don't try to excuse it away as, well, you've had 30 years, you should know. Then don't fucking have the training. But you say that this training is mandatory and you falsify it, I've got a problem with that. What did your president say in front of the committee? There were some discrepancies. There's not discrepancies, bitch. They falsified it intentionally. He's not presidential. He's not a leader. The first TA comes out. I promise you I'm getting somewhere with this. This is not just me rehashing a bunch of shit. I'm getting somewhere. The first TA came out, and we saw it, and the carriers, they took a stand, okay? They took a stand. One of the reasons being is that Renfro had promised us all these things along the way. An all-career workforce. We're like, finally, fight for that. Because like I've always said, win or lose, fight. Win or lose, fight. Some of the dumbest motherfuckers I see online are those that say the CLC said they're going to take it to arbitration so that they can put it on somebody else. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I'm not going to concede my ass to management. I'm not going to concede my ass to management just to keep from going to arbitration. I'm going to use that avenue that we have. We're one of the only unions that have it, interest arbitration, to get what we want. If management doesn't give it to me, I will go to them. Why? Because that's the avenue that we have to do that. I'm not going to concede every fucking point just to appease somebody. Just to say, well, we didn't go to arbitration, we're going to get the same thing. I'm not doing that. We're going to go to arbitration. Why? Because I have that at my disposal to do so. To get in those books, have a forensics audit of every fucking thing that they've done, all the things that we've been talking about, put them out there for everybody to see. So, you have a TA. It lasts 700 days. Why? Why did it, has anybody thought of that? Now, this is where we're going. Why did it last 700 days? Does anybody have any idea? Because he went into it saying that we would have an all-career workforce. He did not get that. So that wasn't the reason. He said that, then he started bending. If we do have a contingent of CCAs, so he already backed off of an all-career workforce. He said, if we do have a contingent of CCAs, they will come in with a substantial starting wage. Substantial starting wage, okay? That didn't happen. Why? Remember that. Remember the CCAs, okay? Because we were immediately flipped into this next collective bargaining, okay? There was hardly any time. Other things that were said that didn't come true. Just a bunch of lies for 700 days. Now, why do that 700 days and not 70 days? You can't be kicking this can down the road and lose every single position. You lost every single thing that we were going for. Every single thing that you told us you was going to get, you conceded every single one. We didn't get a one. How is that? And why is that? You've had 700 days to come up with one victory, and you didn't. Think about that. Remember that. Especially the CCAs. It's an all-career workforce. It's a non-starter. That's what he said. It's in the publication. I read it. It's an all-career workforce. It's a non-starter. 9% increase. 9% increase. 1.3 times 3. That's what we got. So he lost out on every single thing. But the CCAs is the most critical thing. Remember that. Okay? So we vote down the TA overwhelmingly. They did not expect that. They didn't see that coming, I promise you. Even Barner, as they were tallying the votes, said he felt like they would win the TA, but it would be close. It'll pass, but it'll be close. Got demolished. Got destroyed. Okay? This is the most important part. This is the most important part. When it got destroyed, we were celebrating, right? Light Blue stood up. We were talking about soup line, eating steak. We finally wanted more than scraps. We didn't want to eat butter sandwiches, as you would say. We didn't want my carriers living out of their cars because they could not afford housing. We were tired of union halls having to put in showers because those that could not afford housing needed some place to shower. We have carriers on both coasts sleeping out of their cars, right? We have single mothers barely make it, having to get government assistance to make it. Now, this is a union job. This is not a fast food job. This is a union job, right? So we were celebrating because the carriers stood up, Light Blue stood up, and what happened? It was forced down our throat anyway. It was forced down our throat anyway in a stipulated award. Now, you had some dumb fucks coming out saying, he went to arbitration and y'all can't even be happy with that. He didn't go to arbitration. It was stipulated. Okay? Even the arbitrator said what? It was in mediation. It was mediated. They came to me and said, this is what we wanted. This is what we agreed to. This is what we agreed to. And oh yeah, by the way, those contractual provisions that we didn't even talk about in here, put those in there anyway. The CCAs. Put those in there anyway. So a stipulated award was put in on us. The carriers lost their voice. Our agent turned their back on us because our president is not presidential and he is not a leader. Okay? So the agent took the only avenue that we had for justice and turned their back on us. They stipulated an award. Now here we go. Here's where I'm getting to. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. You have the PMG. He comes out, and I talked about this, went off on this because I am like Blue. Things that affect the country affect me and my station. Why? Because I'll be delivering mail tomorrow, the day after a holiday. I'll be out there delivering. So things that affect like Blue affect me. So the PMG comes out there, no mention of anything to correct themselves. No mention of a loss of $1 billion. No questioning by the committee. Now, surely we have people that would get a hold of the committee and say, hey, press him on this. What about the $1 billion lost on non-compliance? What about the staffing issues? Yeah, we have staffing issues. Where do we have staffing issues? Well, we can't get anybody to come to work. Carriers don't come to work. Clerks don't come to work. That's not the staffing issues I'm talking about. I'm talking about the overstaffing of management. Why is it 20 years ago we were 20-1 and now we're 7-1? Talk to me about that, what we're doing about that. Well, we've got this and that. Those things were not addressed, which means that we knew that the PMG was going there. Obviously, surely we have people on the committee that are on our side. Plenty of people are acting like it. Why were they not fed these things to ask to him? Why are we staying away from those conversations? Why are we hiding from that? Think about that. Okay, because that'd been the perfect time to say, we hear all these things. You're going after the city letter carriers. Well, no, I'm not. Well, who makes overtime? Who makes overtime when you're talking about a part-time workforce? Who's that going to affect? That going to affect the overstaffing of management? Or is that going to affect the people actually doing the work? A part-time workforce. When you're talking about the overtime, when you're talking about these numbers, they will move. These points will move. So much overtime will move it this way. Well, what about $1 billion lost? How many points does that move it? You know, things like that kind of counter what he's fucking doing to us. No counter. Even afterwards, your president didn't say anything. He didn't come out and say anything. Why is that? Is it by design? Is it? Now, am I just crazy? Is it by design? Is it by design? He says, if y'all have a rally, don't speak negatively about management. Is it by design when he gets in front of his people and he's being questioned, he said, hey, the hip training was just a discrepancy. Huh? When he had an opportunity to expose management and he didn't, is it by design that this is not happening? Because the Postmaster General said they're going to cut out on what? Overtime. Overtime. Now, we raised the caps off of the 12 and 60 so that my people could work themselves to death because we didn't provide a living wage. We did not provide a living wage to anybody. We've got people living in poverty status as CCAs and Table 2. They live in poverty wages. Nobody would disagree with that, okay? You didn't give them enough to survive. Most of them are having to do Uber at night or some other job at night because you did not fight for them when you had the opportunity. Why is that? Why is it when the Postmaster General says we're going to go to a more part-time workforce and we're going to cut with overtime? Why is it that our president immediately came out with a collective bargaining update talking about we're going to give the CCAs another holiday? You conceded the all-career workforce. You conceded that. You conceded the all-career workforce when you said CCAs another holiday. Why is it you're not fighting for CCAs? Hang on to me. Okay? Hang on to me. We're going to go for a little ride right here. Y'all tell me if I'm crazy. 4-day work week, 10 hours a day. Now, what they're saying is it's going to be Monday through Thursday, and it's going to be Tuesday through Friday, and Wednesday through Saturday. Those are the shifts. So I would have Monday through Thursday. There's another shift going to have Tuesday through Friday, and then another one Wednesday through Saturday. Okay, so that's going to cover every day. They understand. They understand that you're going to have a drastic loss in employment. Renfro even understands that. But he says that the losses will be minimal. Only around 7,000. 7,000. It'll be minimal, the losses. 7,000 brothers and sisters out of a fucking job. The high number being as you're cutting out, if you're saying that you have a five routes on a string, you're going to go from an 8-hour day to a 10-hour day of straight time pay. That means you're cutting out 2 hours of overtime. Okay? What did the Postmaster General say? We're going to cut out overtime. So my president is helping him, saying we're going to go from an 8-hour day to a 10-hour day straight time. That will cut out a route. 2, 4, 6, 8, right? 4 days, 2 hours a day, 2, 4, 6, 8. That's a route. So that'll cut out that 5th route. So some say you're cutting out 20% of the workforce. That's 50,000 jobs potentially lost. They have no data. He's done there's no data to support anything he's saying. If you asked him, where's the data? He doesn't have any. He's fixing to give them exactly what the Postmaster General wanted. I want to cut out overtime. Well, the best way to do that is go to 4 10-hour days. That's why. Now, people are calling in sick. You're not remembering that. We'll get overtime when people are calling in sick and people are on holiday. CCAs. CCAs. They are flooding us with CCAs. I have people all the time asking me, man, is there anything we can do about all these CCAs? This is nationwide. We're getting flooded with CCAs right now. What is going on? We have no work for anybody. There's no work for them. They're starting our CCAs at noon. CCAs. Am I crazy? Is this making sense to anybody? You're helping the Postmaster General because you're going to say, we're going to talk about 4 10-hour days. So that's 10 hours of straight time pay. Okay? No overtime until 10:01. 4 10-hour days, it's a straight time rate. Anything that's split, anything that's sick leave, or anything, they'll have a pool of CCAs to come and get that. And they will work 10 hours. No overtime. He's already talked about when they said, what about penalty? Probably won't be any penalty. That's what he's saying. Now, if he says he didn't, he's a liar. Probably won't be any penalty. Why is our president in bed with management? What is going on here? Let me ask you this. Talking about Brother Gates. You've got management saying that we're going to have an hour office time. It's down to 45 minutes. It's down to 30 minutes. So I'm going to be in a fucking vehicle in the summer for 9.5 fucking hours. How does that make sense? How is that safe? What about these dumbass fucking managers going to say, hey, the start time's 7. We're going to make it 9. We're going to make the start time 9. You're going to get out of the office at 9:40. And you're going to spend the rest of the day in the fucking heat. Do you know why Brian doesn't give a fuck about that or why he doesn't think about that? That motherfucker's not been in the heat that long. He hadn't been in one of those fucking vehicles all fucking day. I have. He hasn't had to have a cooler full of water that you pour half of it on your fucking head and drink the other half. Have a towel in there that you soak in ice water so that you can put it on your fucking head so you don't pass out. Have y'all ever jumped in somebody's swimming pool in your uniform? I have. I've done it. All my people on my route that have swimming pools, they said, hey, more than welcome to jump in there. I do. It gets so hot, I'll jump in the motherfucker and get back out and keep walking. Swear to God. He's not had to do that. He's not been one of us. It's a disservice to us what Rolando and Lou did bringing him up, because he wasn't one of us. He doesn't understand the shit he's talking about. You're going to have us out there 9.5 fucking hours in a vehicle, in the heat, in the winter, in the rain, in the snow, in the ice, in the dark. When you're not one of us, when you're not presidential, when you're not a leader, you do stupid shit like that. CCAs are going to soak up the rest of that. Have y'all thought about that? You're going to work 40 days a week, damn near kill yourself on those 4 days. You're not going to get done in 8. Your route's going to be 10. Now, you're going to take up a route because you're taking 2 hours for 4 days. That's a route for one person. For one. That's a route. Plus, that's overtime. That's route. That's a body. Overtime, route, and a body. You're going to lose overtime, you're going to lose routes, and you're going to lose bodies. Does that sound like something a union leader would agree to? Way back when he said it's going to be an awkward workforce or nothing at all, and he immediately conceded CCAs, did they know that already? This is purely speculation, and I hate going by speculation or assumption. I don't like doing that unless I have something in hand. Data in hand, something I can prove it. But did he know that back then? And is that the reason he forced it through anyway when we voted down the TA? Did he force that through anyway because they had already come to an agreement with them what they're going to possibly do to save the Postal Service? It's not my job to save the Postal Service. They have people to do that. It's my job to save Light Blue and every single job that comes with that. I'm not going to say that it's going to be minimal loss 7,000. Have you ever been to the National Convention? It's full. I mean, it's impressive. The amount of people that are in there. That's 7,000 to 10,000. They're gone. Think of it that way. They're gone. All of them in there, fired. He said that's minimal. Is it? Is it minimal? To lose that many bodies? To lose that many co-workers? Family members that are wearing our colors? People that don't wear our colors don't understand us, obviously. People that don't wear light blue don't understand who in the fuck we are. It's obvious. The other side don't. They don't give a fuck. I would hope and pray that my agent did. They don't. Why? Because he's not one of us. He's not presidential. He's not presidential. And he's not a leader. He can't get out of here fast enough. All this splitting the vote, that ain't going to matter. I'm telling you, we're fixing to rain down fucking hell in this next vote. They have just like that TA, they have no idea what's coming. No idea what's fucking coming. There's going to be a mandate. There's going to be a mandate put on James Henry and the CLC to back up what you say. You going to talk all this shit? Back it up. The good thing is the man record speaks for himself about backing shit up. That's the good thing about James Henry. His record speaks for himself about him backing shit up. All he knows is fighting. That's it. Look at the man's record. It's insane. All he knows is fighting. Everywhere I go, I said, right now more than ever, we need a street fighter. He's the only one we got. You got dishonesty. If you want that, vote for somebody else. You got credibility. If you want that, vote for James Henry. If you want honesty, James Henry. If you want integrity, James Henry. Nobody else has an ounce of it. None. This union's going to get turned around. We're fixing to get back to fighting like we should have been long ago. But there was a disservice done to Brian Renfro. And I will give him that. There was a disservice done to that young man. When Lou Drass brought him up thinking that he was ready, and he was not. When Fred Rolando hid things from us, despicable things like a raging alcoholic, a womanizer, hid those things from us in fear that it would interfere with the good old boy, the status quo. He hid that from us to get somebody put in there that was not ready. And that is not Brian Renfro's fault. What is his fault is he's incompetent and a coward. That is his fault. He has no idea who we are. That is his fault. He should have told Lou. Now, I know when somebody said, hey, man, I'm going to take you up to National. What? Really? Let's go. He's not going to say, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to do that. I've not been on the workroom floor, Lou. Give me a couple more years down here. Let me get seasoned a little bit, and then I can go up there. Because if you've done it for a while, you can do whatever. Everything that comes your way, you can handle it. If you know the grievance procedure, arbitration, he's only done one, but arbitration and all those things, Article 15 through and through, everything that you sign, understand what you're signing, you're all right. You got to love the city letter carrier with everything in your heart, everything in your body, and everything in your being. You got to love the city letter carrier. If you do that, you're going to be extremely successful in whatever you do. You'll be extremely successful. There are those running that love themselves more than they love the city letter carrier. And then you have James Henry, who loves the city letter carrier, and his record speaks for that. That's the bottom line. Does any of that make sense to y'all? Does that make sense? All these things, just I was thinking about that driving home. And I was thinking, oh, this kind of fell into place right here. Maybe I'm crazy. But all these things, this conceding the CCAs, and then when it got voted down, forcing it through anyway, was odd to me. Because I'm like, that's a career killer. That will kill your career. You don't force a TA through when it gets voted down. That's just, it doesn't happen. You don't survive that. You can't survive that. He had to know. What is the end game? I said, what's the end game here? I would never accuse anybody of taking anything under the table. I would never do that because I ain't got no proof. No proof of that. But what's happening here? That you would, TA of one of the biggest unions in the country, overwhelmingly voted down, and you force it through on a stipulated award to make sure that it went through. To make sure that the CCA craft went through. You said an all-career workforce, a non-starter. I'm sure you may have meant that when you went into it, but something happened. Something happened in between those 700 days. He may have meant that it's 9%. All these promises, all-career workforce is a non-starter. I'm sure that he meant that. Immediately almost it was, well, if we do have a contingent of CCAs, you're thinking, hold up. Hold up. How did you already concede that? 700 days later. You're kicking this can down the road. You give us the TA, and we said, no, sir. No. No, that's not good enough. We have people living in squander. We have people living in their cars. We have people making subpar wages. That's not good enough for us. And you forced it through. And then you see this with the PMG coming out with all these things. Part-time workforce. Or a non-career workforce. Going more towards that. It just hit me weird, you know. And then he comes out with this 4-day, 10-hour today, and he's serious about it. People are challenging him, but he is serious about it. That's where he wants to go. That does nothing but help the Postal Service with overtime, with job losses, drastic job losses, which right there, if you're a leader of men, as they say, men and women, job losses. If you went into something as the leader of your group and they said, hey, we're going to propose this, it's going to be some job losses. How many? 7,000? You would immediately say, hold it, what? No, hell no. This is something that he is proposing. They didn't come to him. He's proposing it. It's minimal, about 7,000. What? What are you talking about? That's an entire convention gone. And some are saying upwards of 50,000 because you're taking a route per every 5. You're taking a route. Crazy. Insane shit, man. But I just wanted to run that by you. If y'all think I'm crazy, let me know. If y'all say, no, that makes sense, here's why. Let me know that. Okay? Let me know. I'll be back Wednesday, and I'm going to cover some contractual stuff. We're going to get into some education on Wednesday. I've got the wolf with me Thursday. My wife's going out of town, so I get bored as hell. And so I'm just going to come in here and do an episode Wednesday and Thursday. Won't have one next week because I'll be on vacation, all right? Y'all think about that. Let me know what you think, all right? I love you, Light Blue. I love you. We're going to take over this motherfucker come at the end of the year. We won't have to worry about this shit ever again. Okay? We're going to have fighters in there, leaders, presidential people that are actually a president, and understand the fight that we have, that we're going through, and understand that we're here for the city letter care, not management, not the employer. I think there's something that says the agent is supposed to represent the city letter care, not the postal service. We got that screwed up somewhere, but it's all going to change. I promise you that. Change is coming, all right? I love you. Y'all be safe out there. Have a good day tomorrow. I know it's going to be heavy day after a holiday. For those, remember, for those that have sacrificed it all, we can never thank you enough. We pray for your family still. And thank y'all for everything that you've ever done for us, even active duty. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We cannot thank you enough for the sacrifices you make every single day to make sure that we maintain the freedoms that we have. I love you. Y'all have a fantastic rest of the day, and I'll talk to you Wednesday. All right? Bye.